Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. I'm your host, Adam Portrais, and I'm joined as always by Sean Keenan.
Heidi's looking at the man in the mirror.
Asking you to change the ways, I would hope. And of course, Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and I do the sickest backflips.
I would pay a large amount of money to watch you do a backflip, Bruce. You don't even.
That would still not cover the medical bills.
Don't even need to wear a cape or nothing. Just out and out. I'll give you a trampoline too, just to even it up.
Oh, then it's on. I got my Dark Knight underwear on as we speak.
Why? I just, I'm not even going to question that as being true because I can't put anything past you, man. Well, we have a fantastic show for everybody this week. We are going to be talking Lego Batman, the first of what is sure to be 18 billion Lego movies. We'll see from here until the end of eternity because apparently they do pretty well. Lego Batman, or excuse me, the Lego movie rather, was a giant success. And let's be honest, one of the biggest standouts in that movie was Batman. And I think everybody knew it was only a matter of time before Batman got his own solo film. And some people I'm reading on the internet are calling this the best Batman movie ever. Now, is it the best Batman movie ever? We'll find out here, man, because that's what we do on the HMP. We look at everyone else's stuff and go, you're wrong, or you're right even sometimes. But, it is what it is. So first of all, I think we need to do a little something that we haven't done in some time. We got a lot of kind of feedback and stuff today, which is always a very, very nice from everyone. But I think we need to open up the old HMP mailbag. Give me 1 second here to make sure it's all queued up properly because I don't want it not to be there. Heck yeah.
Mail's here.
And like I said, we'll have a couple different mail segments here. This one is going to be, we got some Batman, Lego Batman related stuff that we'll put kind of towards the end of the show. So don't worry, those who wrote me. I've got your stuff. No worries. This is from Alan, and it is entitled A Future Request. All right. Hello, gentlemen. I've been catching up and greatly enjoying the back catalog. You guys are really fun to listen to, and your tangential conversations are great and give me a ton of fodder to kill my productivity at work. And that's what we do around here. I just listened to your Throne of Atlantis episode and then searched your podcast for a review of The Flashpoint Paradox. Sadly, I did not find one. But on a positive note, I get to request that you strongly consider a review of this violent graphic cartoon. Now back to work for me and more productivity killing. Thanks, Alan Turner. P.S. Oh, feel free to use his name. Well, I did. So good. P.S. Don't say my name. I'm under witness protection, and this could endanger my life.
You got it, Alan Turner.
Alan Turner, 547-334.
A.K.A. Slimy Gambino.
Yeah, Slimy Gambino. I like that. So that might be. I think we might have to do that when Sean is on vacation.
That would be a good topic for a solo Sean Keenan episode.
Yeah,
I love it. just me yelling profanities into the microphone all night.
It's just no, God, please, God, no. So yeah. Well, it's on the docket, man. So duly noted. We'll put that in there. It is. Our schedule is just slammed packed, though, man. We are all the way through, like, April now with stuff that we've already got the schedule booked up with, man. So it's ridiculous. But fantastic. It's a good problem to have on this show, I says.
And then Guardians of the Galaxy hits in May, so that's when the summer season starts swinging.
And then, yeah, exactly. So you're not going to be wanting for material, everybody. I'll tell you that right now. In fact, by looking at the schedule and stuff, the way things kind of fall on the calendar and everything, we're going to have an Iron Fist episode, then we're going to go back to like a new release, and then we're going to have like Iron Fist rather is going to be several times apart just because we can't do it all at one time. That's how much stuff is coming out and the crazy fast pace that everything's working at, man.
Didn't we have to do that with Luke Cage this past year?
I don't remember if Luke Cage, I think we did Luke Cage back to back, but I don't think we had to skip one. I could be wrong.
Okay, I had a feeling that there was one we had to break up like that, but I can't remember what.
Maybe. When you've done almost 150 episodes, Bruce, stuff starts to run together a little bit. That and when they're all superhero films, it's not like we have like, oh, I remember when we did that horror film. It's very different from that. So, but it's Flashpoint Paradox on the roster. No worries. Maybe we'll put that in a Patreon thing. Speaking of Patreon, though, patreon.com/HMP. Thank you guys so much for all that. When the time comes, I'll talk about it a little bit more in depth. But I did have this past weekend a long conversation with a longtime producer of the show, Jim Beverly, about stuff going on. And I got to say, man, that dude is one in a million. I'll just tell you that. And then again, more details will come later. Heck of a guy, that guy. I'll tell you that much right now. But if you would like to be one of the people that helps us out with this show, head on down to patreon.com/HMP. We got tons of different levels. One of the levels, just right at the entry, even for $1, you get to vote on one of the movies that we actually watch. So you get a hand in the production of the show, man. That's why we call you guys the producers and everything. To all the way up to, getting a extra episodes, bonus things, that and all of it's listed out there, patreon.com/HMP. We thank you guys for all that good stuff. It is, it's keeping things moving around here, man. We really appreciate that. Now, before we get to the show proper, we do have to, hopefully it'll work this week because it didn't work in the thing last week, but we'll figure it all out. Audible, man. Audible, I'm telling you, I went through my Audible collection this past week, right? Looking just for something to kind of fill some time. And there's so much. I like even the back catalog of stuff that I already have that I've already listened to. Still, I mean, it is like if I read books, it would be like pulling a book off the shelf.
Yeah.
And reading
I'll
it
tell
again.
you what has been knocking my socks off on Audible lately is the Dresden Files, man. I love James Marsters, and he narrates all of Jim Butcher's Dresden Files books, and the guy is just incredible. It's getting to be where I don't even want to actually read the book in print because I love Marsters' narration. So that's something I would recommend to anybody who listens to this show. They would like any of those Harry Dresden books on Audible.
And if you want to do that now, you guys can go out to audible.com/try now. You'll get 30 days free trial there. Download the book that you want to. Listen to the book. If you decide to keep on, which you probably will, because all of a sudden you'll get very addicted and going, man, this is really working out well for me. But you'll keep on keeping on. But if you don't, you still get to keep the book no matter what, man. So that's kind of like our little gift to you. Go on to audible.com/try now. Check it out. What do you got to lose but putting some entertainment and fun in your ear holes, man? And I hear tell there's another audiobook we should be on the lookout for, Bruce?
Hey, it's past Q&A. It just depends on how long it takes it to make it to retail. It says it's on its way to retail for Dragging in the Needles. And the world of publishing moves incredibly slowly paced compared to what we're used to at podcasting. Yeah. So, it takes about 2 weeks, but hopefully any day now it's available.
But here's the cool part, people. You go there, you check it out. It's going to be a thing that you can listen to, man. And you can also be thankful that I didn't read it because you would have had at least 3 times worth the length of book. So,
which is what I really wanted, make people feel like they're getting something for their money.
Yeah, but except they're just like, oh, why did they get someone with a learning disability to read a book? That's a bad move. But
they'll have serious questions about my mental health when they hear the voices I try to do.
Do you have a lot of pictures in it? Because I like the pictures. That's just me. But if you like, everybody, head on down to audible.com/try now. Check it out there. And when Bruce's book drops, please pick it up. Or where can they go normally just to get the book?
Amazon. Amazon's the best place to go for it. Of course, it's on iTunes if you like iBooks, but don't worry, I'll be reminding them about that at the end of the show.
You'll get some stuff, people, but, help Bruce out, help us out, audible.com/try now. We thank you, Audible, for helping this podcast chug along here. Speaking of chugging along, let's go ahead and take a listen to the trailer for Lego Batman, the movie.
Yeah, you know what
it must be great to be Batman.
Thank you. I'm blushing super hard under the mask.
Batman!
Pray God.
Thanks, Batman!
Yeah!
I can only imagine he's going home right now to party the night away, surrounded by friends and lady activewear models.
Hey, computer. I'm home. I'm home. I'm home. One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
Mr. Bruce, your greatest fear is...
Snakes?
No.
Clowns?
No. It's being a part of a family again.
No, now it's snake clowns because you put that idea in my head.
Sir, you need to take responsibility for your life, and it starts by raising the young orphan you adopted.
I thought I was being sarcastic.
Hello, secret camera. We built this city. What? It's the Bat Cave. Oh my gosh. Look, it's the Bat Sub.
Don't touch that.
The Bat Zeppelin.
Don't touch that either.
It's the Bat Kayak. Do I get a costume? I love it, but his pants are just a little tight. I got an idea. It's better.
I can only look you in the eyes right now.
Hi, Batman. No way. Come catch your greatest enemy.
Superman is my greatest enemy.
Superman's not a bad guy.
Then I'd say that I don't currently have a bad guy. I am fighting a few different people. I like to fight around.
Hi, Barbara Gordon, new police commissioner. It's my dream for the police force to team up with Batman.
What?
Wouldn't that be better?
I hate everything you just said. Gotcha.
Nice.
Initialize master building.
Got it. Here you go.
I need a macaroni. Yes, we did it. Pretty cool, huh?
Why did you build this thing with only one seat?
Because last I checked, I only had one butt. Let's go defeat the Joker.
Woo! We're going on a family trip. I can wear my costume too.
Well, luckily for us, you left your costume back in... Oh, no, under your clothes. That's perfect.
All right, that was the trailer for Lego Batman, our new release movie of the week. IMDb plotline, as we know, IMDb always 100% correct in everything they say and or do. Bruce Wayne must not only deal with the criminals of Gotham City, but also the responsibility of raising a boy he adopted. Oh, classic story. So this is starring Will Arnett, Michael Cera, Rosario Dawson, Ray Fiennes, Zach Galifianakis, Jenny Slate, and a whole lot more. Maybe we'll get into some more. Directed by Chris McKay. Bruce, I don't know where you're going to go with this one, man. What do you have for us in this week's Comic Book Connection?
Well, I've devoted many of these segments to discussing heroes and several more to discussing villains. But one thing I've never taken the time to talk about is the Condiment King. Now, created by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, the Condiment King first appeared in an episode of Batman, the animated series titled Make 'em Laugh. This first appearance seems to have been influenced, at least in part, by the Killing Joke, only, I suppose, with less maiming and psychological torture. Now, Condiment King was a stand-up comedian by the name of, and now get this, guys, Mitchell Mayo. Now, the Joker brainwashed Mayo into becoming the feared villain Condiment King. Now, what was so fearsome about him, you may ask? Well, the short answer is his dialogue. For example, he said things like, "I knew you would catch up to me." And he also said, "How I relished this meeting." He also said, "Let's see if you can cut the mustard." And with top-notch lines like that, I think we can probably agree that the Condiment King would have been a much better character for Arnold Schwarzenegger to portray rather than Mr. Freeze. Now, Condiment King did appear in about 12 issues of the comics, fighting against Batgirl, Robin, and the Birds of Prey. Tim Drake noted that he could potentially be quite dangerous as his condiment guns could trigger anaphylactic shock in people with certain food allergies. Now, the villain is sometimes upset that the Dark Knight never learned his name and often refers to him as Mustard Man. And at one point, while he was interned at Arkham Asylum, Poison Ivy taught him about spices, and he added them to his weaponized recipes and made them slightly more dangerous. Now, apparently his Achilles heel is milk, which can soothe the burning caused by his spicy concoctions. Now, at one point, he appeared to have been killed when his head was smashed in by the Human Flame, another D-list villain who is nowhere near as cool as his name would suggest. But Condiment King fans around the globe rejoiced when Rebirth revealed him to be alive within the confines of Arkham. So I guess those who crave their French fries unadorned and their hot dogs plain should beware the terror that is the Condiment King.
First of all, if you did not steal that from a book, DC owes you money.
Oh, no, that is all legit.
I mean, because that is... No, I mean just that last tagline you had there.
Oh.
Was that you?
No, that was me.
Okay, DC owes you money. They at least owe you $500 just on account of that right there, because they can use that and just drive it home forever.
I can give them my email address. They can send me a money order.
Genius. So yeah, man. Like I said, the Lego Batman movie a little while back was the Lego movie rather. This is the Lego Batman movie. The Lego movie was big success, man. You had so many different things in there, and they were like, hey, let's shove all this cool Lego stuff in there because Lego's been known to parse itself out to different properties. And they said, let's put all that in one movie. And one of the things that popped out in that was certainly Batman as one of the most hilarious things, as voiced by Will Arnett. Will Arnett just bringing what he does to roles, you know, which is just a weird sense of
And Sean, I would imagine you're probably as big of a Will Arnett fan as I am.
I'm a pretty big Will Arnett fan. The reason why I've been quiet is I'm trying to figure out how to deftly put this into the conversation. So Lego movie, first Lego movie. First of all, the thing that Batman Lego does not have going for it, that Lego movie had going for it, was that it was such a surprise.
Yeah.
Because remember, it was kind of like an afterthought of like, oh, they're making a Lego movie that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And no one thought it was going to be good.
And you know, even at the say what?
And no one thought the Lego movie was going to be good. It's like a Lego movie. This is bound to be awful, and it was fantastic.
Right, exactly. And which is, I mean, that is something that the Batman Lego movie doesn't have, because the expectations are high for this. I mean, Adam, you even said at the beginning of this year that this is the movie that you're most looking forward to seeing.
It was one of them, yeah. It's definitely up there.
You know? No, you literally said this was the movie you were most looking forward to seeing this year for a superhero movie.
I can corroborate
so,
that.
Like, I don't listen to me a lot.
Yeah. Probably a wise decision. So like, you know, that's one of the things going into this, is that there is not the element of surprise when you're coming into it. Now, this movie's great. The thing that I really want to talk about with this is, are you guys familiar at all with the Tommy Westphal universe? Do you guys know what that is?
No.
I don't know what that is.
Tommy Westphal, the TV show St. Elsewhere.
Okay, yeah, I know that show.
It ends the series finale, the very last episode of that show. It turns out that St. Elsewhere, the entire thing was just something in an autistic boy's head that he was thinking about as he was looking at a snow globe.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
So here is where the universe starts spinning out, though. So what ends up happening is that one of the characters on St. Elsewhere ends up going like the Ed Begley Jr. character, played by, I can't remember Ed Begley Jr.'s character's name on St. Elsewhere, but he goes and he makes an appearance on Homicide: Life on the Street. That character is from St. Elsewhere, the character he played on St. Elsewhere. So now Tommy Westphal, the character who's the autistic boy looking into a snow globe, imagining St. Elsewhere, now all of Homicide: Life on the Street is also part of the Tommy Westphal universe, because it's the same.
And that's the same Richard
universe.
Belzer, right?
Well, that's it. Now what happens is that because Ed Begley Jr.'s character from St. Elsewhere shows up on Homicide: Life on the Street, then Belzer's character of Detective Munch starts making appearances on X-Files and starts making appearances on Law and Order, and on he's on Arrested Development even. So now all of these TV shows are all part of the Tommy Westphal universe, because this autistic boy thought up all of St. Elsewhere in the first place.
Okay, now the
reason why I am bringing this up
okay,
is because Batman is in the first Lego movie. The Lego movie is all in that kid's head when he's messing around with the Will Ferrell character's Legos downstairs. So does all of the Lego Batman movie take place in that kid's head from the first Lego movie?
Well, it would certainly make sense when we think about some of the characters that show up in it.
And I'll be honest, I part of me did think like, oh, are we going to get another kind of, in scene quite, like, you can't have the same
I was expecting that kind of thing at the end.
You couldn't have the same impact as that movie did, because it's a different type of movie altogether, I guess. But yeah, it kind of, I was both surprised and not surprised when it didn't happen. So,
And, guys, if this isn't shoehorning it in too much, can I just run down the list I put together of everybody that shows up in this movie?
We
And
were
I'm sure it's incomplete.
we were getting to that because if
Okay.
anyone was going to, I knew you would have everything in there because this is the thing, and they make fun of it in the movie itself of like, hey, these are real villains. You can look them up. Worth a Google, it says, right? And so because they go through so many, and like most people that don't know comics and stuff go, okay, this, especially when they get to like Condiment King, where you're like, no, this is just silliness. You should stop making up all this crap. Bruce, run down the list of the villains that we have in this movie.
Okay,
This is
so
astounding.
this is almost assuredly an incomplete list because there's so much that shows up, but I did the best I could. Please save your emails. I know I left somebody out. And this is also when Skype usually conveniently drops, but I'm going to give it a shot. So we have Gentleman Ghost, Clock King, Calendar Man, Kite Man, Cat Man, Zebra Man, Penguin, Mr. Freeze, Killer Croc, Man Bat, Captain Boomerang, Egghead, Crazy Quilt, Eraser, Polka Dot Man, Mime, Tarantula, King Tut, Orca, Killer Moth, March Harriet, Zodiac Master, the mutant leader from Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, Dr. Phosphorus, Magpie, Calculator, Hugo Strange, Red Hood, the Kabuki Twins, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, Green Arrow, Black Canary, Hawkman, Hawkgirl, Martian Manhunter, Apache Chief, Black Vulcan, the Wonder Twins and their monkey, the Daleks, the Gremlins, the Wicked Witch of the West, the Swamp Creature, the Kraken from Clash of the Titans, which I thought was a nice touch, Agent Smith from The Matrix, the Great White Shark from Jaws, a.k.a. Bruce, I know his name, and some dinosaurs from Jurassic Park, not to mention the flying monkeys, Sauron and Voldemort.
Boy, when you're a Warner Brothers property, man, you can get in on some sweet action.
And the thing that my 11-year-old daughter was most angry about is that the voice of Alfred should have been the voice of Voldemort.
It's not wrong. It's, she's 110% accurate. But it was astounding, and this will be a movie that I promise you will be one that you have to buy on Blu-ray just to pause it to look at all the crap that is going on, because this movie is as dense as they come with just little Easter eggs everywhere.
And I have a feeling we got a glimpse at the next round of Lego Dimension releases that we're going to get this summer, too. I think we're going to get a Kraken from Clash of the Titans and Agent Smith, maybe Bruce the Shark. I think we're going to get some of these things for Lego Dimensions, because at parts of this movie, it really felt like playing Lego Dimensions with my kids, where Marty McFly, a gremlin, and Batman are taking on some bad guys.
It's just good. So good.
E.T. shows up.
But yeah, it was astounding how much, and like I said, it is every time. There should be just a counter on the side of the screen of just like reference. It wouldn't stop.
And sort of a business question: do you think there's a chance Warner Brothers might be a little disappointed with the take, given that this was such a crowded box office weekend? We had 3 movies that I think were 40 million and up, which is kind of rare for the box office this time of year.
This is super rare to be happening in February. I mean, it made estimated $55 million opening weekend for Lego Batman here, and you came up against 3 giant things. I mean, when I saw John Wick on Saturday at 10 a.m., it was sold out. So I mean,
And I know, I know a few housewives that went to see 50 Shades Darker at lunchtime on Friday. So that movie made more money than it should have, going up against John Wick 2 and the Lego movie.
Yeah, especially if you've seen the first 50 Shades movie. It stinks. Filmfind.com. But no, it's, 55 for Lego Batman, 56 for 50 Shades, and 30 for John Wick. I mean, to have that much in there and for the weekend means everybody went to the movies this weekend, it seems.
And from what I understand, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the guy who wrote Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter wrote this screenplay.
About 58 people ran this thing, though. the writing pool is big on this one. But yeah, it's one of them.
Kind of surprised me, because I'm not, I haven't bothered to see the Abraham Lincoln movie. I kind of liked Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, and it
was all right.
This guy, the team, I shouldn't say this guy, but the team that wrote this really seemed to have a pretty good grasp of the characters.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like a 5-person screenplay on this bad boy, so, it went through some committee. But yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things, and that is that it really seemed, and I think this is where it's getting a lot of the kind of, the greatest Batman movie mantra from everybody, is it gets down to, it distills a lot of the points of what makes Batman Batman. Now, it does it in a fun and humorous way, but it does do that.
I don't know that I would agree that it's the greatest Batman movie ever, but I'm going to go ahead and say Will Arnett is my favorite Batman ever.
Okay, that's now you're just
No, man, I love Will Arnett as Batman.
I love Will Arnett too, man, but no one comes close to Keaton for me.
Yeah.
I know with Adam, it's going to be the Conroy versus Arnett thing that's going to get me in
Conroy
trouble.
all day, man. I mean, come on. I love Will Arnett.
Oh, man.
Come on.
I love Arnett, and I love what he brings to Batman, and it is well needed.
It is, though, but I mean, and honestly, it's weird how this movie that, I love how self-referential it is too, and I think that's one of the big keys to the strength of this movie is how referential that it says, hey, we know those Batman movies exist. We know all the way back to the to the serial era that this exists, right? And is able to point that out and say, hey, look, we know this is here. This story has been said 8 million times, and they do the great thing of, while I liken it to Hot Fuzz, right? Hot Fuzz is a great movie that becomes the movie that it kind of rails against, Well,
I prefer Super Fuzz.
Then now you're just silly. But Hot Fuzz, they were just like, hey, look, this is what happens in all these action cop movies and everything. It's so silly, it's so ridiculous. These things don't happen, and then that movie becomes that movie. But it's a celebration of that at the same time. This movie does that exact same thing, where it says, hey, look how stupid and silly all this Batman stuff is. We get the same thing over and over again. It's the same kind of tale, and then yet still at the same time does that and brings it up to the next level.
And I think that this story is only like half a twist away from a legitimate comic book story arc. You take just a touch of the silliness out, and I could see this being something that Scott Snyder would spread over 8 issues as the more dark and brooding version of this story. I mean, it totally falls into place.
It feels like it's accurate, and it tells. I like the fact that we get the Robin story without having to go through the whole ordeal again, right?
Yeah.
And it's just and I love the idea of like, hey, I didn't really want this. He's just kind of showed up, and I guess I have to take care of him now.
Oh man, and I do like it anytime I get to see scenes from Jerry Maguire.
That was the biggest. I don't know, man. We in the theater. I was laughing so hard at that. I'm like, I don't know why it's as funny as it is, and I don't know why no one else finds it as funny as I did. But him just watching Jerry Maguire, not only watching Jerry Maguire, but then laughing at it.
that was integral to the
was
plot.
even better. Just go, look at this. What is? You had me at hello. What is that about? I love it. And just the stupid mundane thing of him like going through and trying to figure out which HDMI input to put his television on.
Yes, because I live that. I live that crisis every day.
The things we don't see Batman do normally.
I mean, it starts off fun even with the password to get into the Batcave, which, I kind of liked it that they went ahead and went there, and his password was Iron Man sucks.
Yeah. It was like that. That's just such a great thing, just to kind of slap at the guys. But here's the best part: DC, if the shoe were on the other foot, DC would take that so personally. Marvel just goes, yeah, of course it is, and winks at him like Tony Stark would.
Of course, if Marvel did it in Big Hero 6, it probably wouldn't rankle their feathers as much as in something live action. So we got to also keep that in perspective.
That much is
DC's true. Warner Brothers isn't going to do this kind of thing in Justice League.
Though Marvel could do it though. They could get
Marvel could.
They could get away with it. They could get away with saying Batman sucks or something.
Yeah.
Batmobile lost a wheel, something like that in the background. Just go like, stop singing that crappy song. I don't know.
Oh man, yeah, exactly.
I'm writing more about
I think it was the Christmas sort of like the special Christmas issue of Power Man and Iron Fist this past season. When Luke Cage's phone rang, his ringtone was Jingle Bells Batman Smells.
Oh, there you go. See?
Yeah, so they do that, but that was in the comics.
Hey, we're gonna have an Iron Fist in Luke Cage shows sometimes. They'll be heroes for Howard Happiness sometimes. So don't worry.
Yeah. And a lot of other little touches. I love it that they don't pull any punches against Warner Brothers' own miscues. Like when Bane's voice first came out from behind his mask, everybody in the auditorium where I watched it started laughing pretty darn out loud at Bane.
It's true. It's fun. Like, to me, that's the best thing is like when somebody can, and it's something that DC is strongly missing, is being able to laugh at itself a little bit. Is to be able to step back and go like, isn't what we're doing a little bit silly?
Yeah. And that was Doug Benson. This voice cast just wipes me out when I look at all the people that were wedged into these small roles. But Doug Benson doing a Bane impersonation, for some reason, was much more enjoyable than I ever would have dreamed.
It's insane. Now, speaking of voice performances, though, the one that really blew me away was Zach Galifianakis as the Joker.
I wasn't expecting that to come across the way it did.
Unless you listened for it, if you didn't know, you wouldn't probably guess that was him. It's so underplayed, and it's so unlike any of the voices that he's kind of ever really done.
Now, a lot of the cast here, I'm super high on, but there are 2 points of contention I have where I feel like Warner Brothers or the people specifically behind this movie didn't respect maybe some of the options because they think they're not famous enough or something. But I mean, do you think? Well, I guess he has been wedged in between a couple of movies, pun intended. But I think Mark Hamill would have done the Joker for this.
Yeah, he probably would have.
And I think he would have been awesome. And the biggest concern I have is why the heck didn't they get Tara Strong to do Harley Quinn? Because she is like the foremost female voice actor out there. But when movies, even the direct-to-video movies, they tend to scorn her and think of her as a TV voice actor, which I guess happens just like it does to live-action actors.
Yeah, it's a shame, and it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Let me do a counterpoint for that one,
sure.
Bruce.
Yeah,
because if you bring in Hamill to do Joker, then why aren't you bringing in the guy who does Batman's voice for a million years also? And then you know that people are going to be complaining about that if you have Hamill and you don't bring in the other guy, and then we lose Will Arnett.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to lose Will Arnett because the solid argument is he is the reason that this movie was made because he stole the spotlight of the previous one.
Look, I totally agree with all that, but the second that you bring in Mark Hamill to do Joker, there are going to be people who are complaining that you brought in Mark Hamill, but you didn't bring in what's his name, the guy who does Batman's voice,
Conroy.
You didn't bring in Kevin Conroy. Yeah. And I'm not saying that they should. That's not my argument. But you know that there are people out there who would absolutely make that argument if you brought in Hamill and not Conroy.
I can see that. I'll concede that point.
It's tough. It's tough to do.
But on a brighter note, both Garfunkel and Oates were in this movie.
That's hilarious too. I mean, the fact that Kate Micucci played Clayface, it just tells you all that you got to know about how serious this movie takes itself. It's just like, what? Okay, sure.
Yeah, I don't quite know which is Garfunkel and which is Oates, but I know them when I see them.
Let's look at the what's it called? The court. Anyways, I tried.
I saw an interview with Galifianakis about doing the voice of the Joker. Have you guys seen that interview yet?
I have not.
Well, he's talking about how basically the relationship between Batman and Joker is almost exactly the same as his relationship with Will Arnett in real life.
I love that.
Isn't that good? And he said, and he's like, it's complicated. We know each other very well, but we don't spend as much time with each other as we should. Like, there's all this stuff. It's so good.
And one place where they did pay a little bit of respect to actors from the past is Billy Dee finally got to play Two-Face.
Finally.
20 years later, baby.
It's all it takes. If you wait long enough, eventually you can play the role that we cast you as 20 years ago. That's hilarious.
And I like to picture it that somehow Lando Calrissian from the Lego movie got his face burned and became Two-Face.
Say the name again, because I know the people are going to want to hear you say it once more. What was that character's name again?
Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, that's not what you said the last time. I love you, Bruce.
Thick tongue today.
I love you so much. Because I'm like, if he doesn't say it again, they're going to be like, what did he say? Hold on. Let's go to the emails. I love it, though.
He was the godfather of Turk's girlfriend on Scrubs. Or, not Turk, JD's.
Okay. I never really watched Scrubs, so I'll
trying
take
to
your word.
redirect the conversation here.
It's like, you guys ever watch Scrubs? Any Scrubs watches in the house? Oh, crap. All right, fine. Now, I was thrilled to see, we'll go through some more voice talent here. Thrilled to see Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill back as Superman and Jonah Hill's Green Lantern. And I love the throwaway line of just like, or maybe they just forget about you for a while.
I like that.
So good. Adam Devine as the Flash and stuff. This thing's just chock full of people, man. But
and Kimmy Schmidt was the gatekeeper at the Phantom Zone.
True. Now,
Ellie Kemper. That's Ellie Kemper. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of the Phantom Zone, I totally love the absurdity of the plot. That in addition to Superman's enemies, they've also thrown various motion picture property villains in the Phantom Zone. Like that's what happens to them when the franchises go belly up.
we send you out in the middle of the.
That's a really great idea.
And Seth Green, I think, was the voice of one of those villains, wasn't he?
King Kong.
Yeah.
Poor
King Kong. They had to bring him back from the Phantom Zone to make Skull Island.
It's the biggest role that he's ever been in. Boom, you're a tiny man. I like that guy. I'm not bagging on him. But I will say this.
And it's not. I mean, not a really big surprise. Seth Green is in this. Seeing as who's directing it.
Right.
Yeah, the robot chicken guy.
But Michael Cera did a fantastic job as Robin. I'm hit or miss with Michael Cera. But
so good.
He was just
my favorite character in this.
The moment he rips off the pants and they just stick with the authentic Lego thong style coloration, I was won over by the character at that point.
But he's got that stupid, gleeful, just happiness that just can be like either ridiculously annoying or entirely endearing to a character, and it's a hard line to walk. And but he does it so well to where you're just like, I like the character despite the fact that, if you're in Batman's shoes, he's the worst.
And I also, I like it that, officially he is Dick Grayson, but boy, he is sporting quite the Carrie Kelly look.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
With the glasses and the light hair kind of fluffed up in the front. Because that's one of the things, I mean, they do reference The Dark Knight Returns here. And one of the things from that story is that people mistake her for a boy when she's dressed as Robin.
Well, I mean, that's because Frank Miller drew her, not Rob Liefeld.
It was an in-story element, not just the readers.
True.
That is my favorite part to this movie, by the way, is they keep showing you pictures of Batman throughout time. And,
that was awesome.
That is my favorite part of this movie.
They even go back to, Detective Comics 27 or whatever with the weird looking black costume with the floppy ears.
Yeah, the stupid cereal costume. God, it's so good.
So good and so bad.
And then how about when Rosario Dawson makes her big splash as the new Commissioner Gordon, Barbara Gordon? We're getting a different approach to this character.
Again, I thought that was a great thing to do, something that's kind of new and different and a little bit, away from kind of what we continue to see time after time after time.
And I love it that she went to Harvard for Cops or whatever it was called.
just great throwaway. Maybe if I went to Harvard for Cops.
Oh man,
it's tough to go through. But now, I mean, one thing that I was surprised about was just the big the Arkham escape. If you'd have said, "Hey, do you think Batman will end up in Arkham in this movie?" I'd have been like, "What are you, out of your mind?" But they went there.
It works so well, man, and I love it too when Batman has to pull his own pants off, and he happens to have the briefs rather than the thong like Robin has.
Some people have a little bit of
they tell him to take off his shoes, and it's sorry, my pants are attached to my shoes.
Problem for most of us.
And all the total, all the little references that Batman drops too when he's things like, I'm totally not Bruce Wayne, by the way. And then when people say, so the Batcave is underneath Wayne Manor, that means Batman is Bruce Wayne's roommate. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's a ticket. Sure, roommate.
So I didn't get to see this in the movie theater. What was the biggest laugh line in the movie theater while you were watching it?
Well, for me, the biggest laugh line in the movie theater is when Richard Grayson introduces himself to Bruce Wayne, and he says, "My name is Richard Grayson, but most of the kids call me Dick." And then Bruce goes, "Kids can be cruel that way."
That was really good.
All three of my kids loved it, and they had to point out to me that there was a dirty joke in the movie.
Oh wow. It's
rated PG. Surprising.
Yeah. It's a big straddle of the line there in some cases, I think. But no, it was really good. I can't think of anything now. My theater was sparsely populated, but it was good. I had just many a chuckle throughout. Now I do want to read a couple of little stuff here just from listeners and whatnot, just to give you kind of an idea of other thoughts that might be out there as well. Longtime listener of many an HMP podcast and more, Maria has written us a little short Lego Batman review here. Hey guys,
I want to hear this.
So I just went to see the Lego Batman, the second showing of the day, in other words, the kid time showing, with my almost 5-year-old son. I won't go into an in-depth review, as well we don't have time for that. My son is currently obsessed with trolls, so to see a kid-friendly movie that was Batman and non-trolls was awesome. The movie definitely was kid-friendly, and the only part as a mom I wasn't a huge fan of, thankfully my boy didn't really pick up on it, was the whole Iron Man sucks quote, which was entertaining for me, of course. I just don't want my little boy going around saying something sucks. I can't even say, is stupid around my niece, so I couldn't even imagine. The first part of the movie that really caught my boy's attention was the song Batman sang towards the beginning when fighting the bad guys. That was fun. From an adult perspective, without putting any spoilers, it was definitely a kid movie I enjoyed. There were comedic references to earlier Batman films. There were villains from other movies that randomly put in there, like the Voldemort, Gremlins, King Kong, the Eye of Sauron, Sauron, among others, which caught me by surprise. Well, that was fun to see. The movie did have a couple of dry parts that my son started becoming restless, but overall it was very funny, action-packed, and well done. They also had a bunch of DC comic villains and DC heroes make cameos as well. My son liked it, and he said that his favorite good guy is Batman, and his favorite villain is the Joker. As well it should be, I say. He said he liked the fighting parts and the song. Definitely a good movie to bring the probably 4 and up range to, unless under 4 is obsessed with Batman, as there can be some slightly scary parts, hence the PG rating. It moved along nicely, though. I would have to give this one a Dick Grayson in the Robin rating system. Loved you guys. Keep up the awesomeness. That is from Maria. Maria, thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you. And, I also got to let people know you're going to get far more beatboxing Batman in this movie than you have in any of the other Batman movies.
I know you've been storing up the time waiting for it, but it's there for you in spades if you're looking.
I don't know if that's true. I think Val Kilmer did. There was that whole scene where Val Kilmer beatboxes. I think that's...
and he does it expertly too, I'm sure. But,
so much on that B-boy scene.
It did make that time we got to spend with Batman and Robin in Arkham a little bit more fun when they did their beatboxing duo.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
And I also like the idea that when you lock up Batman, you let him keep his mask.
I like that he wears his mask around the house just by himself.
I do too. I think, and I totally could see that happening from this Batman.
Didn't want to take it off. Even in the limo, dressed up and all the way down there. And you have to take off. Fine. Takes it off. And I love how the hair just pops back into place to where it should be.
And if I had a high quality Batman cowl, I might sit around in a bathrobe in the cowl from time to time.
I could see that.
I could too.
Now all I have is my wizard hat.
It was bad enough with the wizard hat, then he got a Batman cowl, and it was all over from there. This next one here is from Reed. It has a little bit of a different perspective. He's right. I thought it was a step below the other. wait a minute. Hold on. Let's do some other things here. I was chatting back and forth with him. All right. I'm surprised at how much of a pass Lego Batman got. I found the funniest parts in the trailer, and the rest, frankly, just loud and busy and didn't amount to much in the end. Unlike Puss in Boots, I found it more in common with other animated spin-off films like Minions and Penguins of Madagascar. But my daughter loves it, but then again, she also loves Sing. But a 91 on Rotten Tomatoes? I don't know. That's another perspective. I don't know. I mean, to me, it was like there were a couple of points that may have seemed a little bit laggy, but then again, I also kind of chalk a bit of that up to I was there at 10 o'clock in the morning.
No, it's definitely no. It definitely lags. You know, I'm somewhere in between both Maria and what's this guy's name?
Reed.
And Reed. I'm somewhere in between the both of them.
Well, if there's any doubt, I think that when Alfred wears not one but two separate superhero costumes and he has a line like "You've been Union Jacked," that's enough to push it over to the plus side.
It was surprising. We had more.
And I did love it when he pulled out the "I'm 60s man" or something like that in the old Bat costume.
It's just like they pull from so many places and there's so much stuff going on. Is that it's unfortunate that I've only seen it the one time because again I want to go back and be able to see all the kind of finer points and everything because it's just there's so much secret Easter eggs in it that I'm astounding.
And before we wrap things up too, we gotta just have a little bit of fun with that Justice League annual Justice League party that Batman didn't get invited to, and the way that goes down.
Because let's think about it. Real Justice League, are they gonna invite Captain Downer to the party?
And I love it that they're even inviting people from Super Friends to the party, man. When I saw Black Vulcan and I think at one point we get Samurai in there and we've got Apache Chief and not only are the Wonder Twins there, but they've got their monkey too, man. Gleek, was that his name?
I think so.
Or is that the name of the monkey on Space Ghost? I get them confused.
No, it is Gleek. You're right.
Because they're like the same monkey, basically. But, oh, man, I loved it. It would have only gotten a little bit better if the Wonder Twins had actually transformed.
They always have why did these – there was an era of cartoons where everyone had a monkey. Like, they had a monkey.
Yeah.
Speed Racer had a monkey. There's at least 4 or 5 monkeys that, like, if you just had, like, people in a cartoon, man, you just gave them a monkey and we're like, well, there you go.
And I'm going to say something controversial here, guys. I'm going to say something controversial.
Ooh.
But I might have liked Marv and Wendy better than the Wonder Twins.
Oh, I do too.
Okay, good.
I was Wonder Twins
dog?
should not exist.
Yeah, they're non-superpowered dog that wore a cape.
That's right.
But
I had an old Super Friends sleeping bag when I was a very young kid, and it was the Marv and Wendy version, not the Wonder Twins version. So I was faithful to my sleeping bag.
Speaking of dog, was that Crypto that was actually on the turntables there?
It looked like Crypto to me, man. But who knows? Maybe it was the dog from Marvin Wendy. I don't know.
I'm just like, wow, Crypto on the sound
on the
system
turntable.
there. Not too shabby. But yeah, lots of good stuff, and I had a very good time. But before we get down to our final rating here and everything, we have to figure out how this movie relates back to our good friend Sylvester Stallone.
Thanks, Adam. I have a prepared statement.
Oh.
Billy D. Williams takes the role of Two-Face in Lego Batman, which makes all the nerdy nerds nerd all over themselves with glee, as they should, since it only took roughly 20 years for Billy D. Williams to reprise his role as Two-Face. And while Billy D. Williams has been in our lives for more than 30 years, I must admit, I don't know much about this guy and just how much he's accomplished in his time on this planet. For instance, in 2015, he was inducted into the Mustache Hall of Fame, making him one of the inaugural members of such a prestigious accomplishment. Other members inducted in that year include Raleigh Fingers, Hulk Hogan, Tom Selleck, and Burt Reynolds. That's a great group to find yourself a part of. In 1985, he received his own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And he was arrested in Los Angeles in 1996 after police received a call from his live-in girlfriend accusing him of battery. Williams was charged with cohabitational abuse and released on $50,000 bail. We all make mistakes, like the time I paid over $100 for a dinner for an entree that had asparagus in it, even though I already knew how much I hated asparagus. So I think I can relate to Billy D's personal problems. Also, for a brief time in the 90s, I drove a Saturn sedan. I sure am glad I was able to move past that time in my life, and I hope Billy D has as well. Now, we all know that BDW from Star Wars and Batman, but he's been in over 137 movies, and some of them are great. Movies like Brian's Song, Lady Sings the Blues, and the Bingo Long Traveling All-Stars and Motor Kings. If you haven't seen any of these movies, do yourself a favor and watch them. But if you make as many movies as BDW, that's hard to say, we're going to make some bad ones as well. Movies like Moving Target, which was a buddy cop movie he made in 1996 with Michael Dudikoff. Something I know, and I couldn't believe it when I saw that. I actually laughed out loud. It's something called Hood of Horror, which is exactly what it sounds like. But Billy D. Williams probably regrets most when he starred alongside Rutger Hauer, and I'm sure someone who's winked at himself in the mirror while giving himself finger pistols, Sylvester Stallone, in 1981's Nighthawks. Now, this is a movie we've spoken about before on H&P, so instead of getting into some long-winded discussion about Nighthawks, instead, I'll let Billy D. Williams speak for himself when it comes to being the pitch man for Colt 45. When he's defending himself, he has said in interviews, and I'm quoting, "Hey, I drink, you drink. Hell, if marijuana was legal, I'd appear in a commercial for that too." So there you have it, H&Pers, this week's Stallone Connection. Now, Clock Man and Calendar Man, let's review this movie so we can make our own Lego Batman movie with our own Legos.
Ooh.
Haha,
I'll say this, man. One of the most hilarious things I saw in real life was, I know this is going to sound shocking to you guys. I went to a Star Wars convention.
Yeah.
What? No gasps. And Billy D. Williams was there, of course, because as what these guys do, they go and get some autograph money and all that kind of good jazz. I was sitting down and I was kind of resting, kind of between walking and doing all the kind of stuff and everything, and just watching people pass by. And one guy that walked past, I knew was going to the autograph hall, and in his hands he had something about the size of a very large traffic sign, metal traffic sign looking thing of Colt 45. Clearly to go get Billy D. Williams sign it, and I just had to tip of the hat to that gentleman because holy crap, to get just carry that thing around.
I hope he had to take either a bus or a train to get there. Like, I like the idea of him lugging that thing on public transit.
Well, in Indianapolis, it would have just looked like any normal Tuesday, I think. That's right. I'm coming after you, Indianapolis. All right, let's get down to it, gentlemen. Here on Hero Movie Podcast, we don't have ratings or anything like that. Well, maybe not traditional ratings. We have our own patented Robin rating system. If you'd like to check that out, head on down to facebook.com/Hero Movie Podcast. It's right there at the top of the page. And hey, if you're there, why don't you throw a thumbs up on that bad boy? So, Bruce, where does the Lego Batman movie fall in the H&P Robin rating system for you, sir?
It was a lot of fun, but to tell the truth, I agree with folks who say that it's not as good as the Lego movie. Also, I don't think I liked it as much as the movies that filled this slot in the last 2 years. I don't like it as good as Deadpool or Kingsman, coming from my perspective. But I still like it. I mean, those were both movies I probably gave a Dick Grayson to. I'm going to give this one a Tim Drake. I hope it doesn't grow into a real long franchise. This will be kind of a nice thing to just be what it is, and then maybe some direct-to-video stuff. But Will Arnett is my favorite Batman right now.
Very good. Mr. Keenan.
For me, it's a Tim Drake also. And like Bruce says, I totally agree. This is not the Lego movie. The Lego movie is singular and great. This movie is good. I like it. I am not in love with it like I was with the Lego movie. So for me, it's a Tim Drake.
Yeah, it's going to be Tim Drake's all around. I really like this movie a whole lot. I had a lot of fun with it, but it did ultimately, and again, the fact that the Lego movie exists, you have to put this up against that. You just have to. There's no other choice, I don't think. But that movie also had just an underlying bit of emotional connection that this movie just didn't have. And this movie's technically not supposed to have that, right? It was never, I don't think you ever could make it do that. And if you did, it would feel shoehorned in and odd and funny. And I don't think that it needs that. But for what it is, I had a lot of fun with it, but I agree 100%, Bruce. They don't need to make this into a thing. As much as I liked it and as much as it'll probably do pretty well at the box office here, I don't think this is something that needs to be made into a regular thing. I think it's a fantastic, fun little one-off. If they want to put little special, like you said, direct-to-video things together that are 30, 45 minutes or something, have a little fun, sketches type stuff almost, yes, bring that stuff on all day long. I'll watch a 5-10 minute YouTube clip of that all day long. But as far as another full movie like this one, frankly, I don't think we need it. And interestingly enough, I mean, I don't know if you saw the trailer or not, but the new Lego movie, the Ninjago movie, which I had zero interest in seeing because I'm like, Lego Ninja stuff, who cares? I'll be honest, it looks pretty good. So it seems like they're coming out with this Lego stuff that could be pretty good. I don't think they need to sit and stew on this Batman. And this is coming from a guy who's, Batman and Spider-Man are my two favorite characters. I'd love to see tons of stuff what these guys do, but I don't think we need to continue to see that over and over and over again because I think it will wear quick,
I prefer Rhino and the Blob.
Of course you do. You're a weirdo. We all know this. And
the Lego Rhino movie.
The Lego Rhino movie.
I would love that. But also, I'll say Friends or Family is not Everything is Awesome either in terms of like the poppy theme song. It felt just a little below Lego Movie in terms of music too.
Well, no, maybe for original music, but the needle drop in this movie was fantastic. So many good songs in this movie. It's like the soundtrack alone is worth going towards because all the just kind of, just needle drop stuff is great. So it is what it is. Now, next week, we're going to be reviewing the first 2 episodes of Legion, the new movie from FX taking place not in the current X-Men universe, but in a X-Men universe. Maybe.
This is one I totally forgot was coming down the pipeline too.
Yeah, it's kind of snuck up on people. I've heard 2 different things. I haven't watched any of them yet. They're on the DVR and everything, but we'll be reviewing those first 2 episodes, give you a little bit of taste of that, and see if not only us but you should be watching any of this stuff, man. But that's what we're here for, man. That's what we do.
That comic book was crazy.
So we'll be talking about all that kind of good stuff, and like we said, we're booked up all the way through April, man. So there's so much stuff that we're doing. Speaking of people that are doing stuff, Bruce, where can we find more of your work on the internet this week, sir?
Well, guys, I've got to tell you that a fever dream caused me to one time ask the question, what would it be like if Andre the Giant was Han Solo?
Okay.
And I came up with a character called the Lump. And he's the protagonist in Dragon and the Needles, The Lump Adventures Book 1, the book that we talked about at the top of the show, the book that is available on Amazon, and it's cheap. There's no reason for people not to go to Amazon and check it out. It's dirt cheap. It's a lot of fun. Help me out. Go over there and show me some love.
Indeed, indeed. You got any podcast people listen to, or you just want them on the books?
Oh, Chubby Wizard, man. You can hear me talk about the book there, as well as Heroes and Villains, where I love to talk about that book.
24/7, 365, got a book in your face.
It's cheap. Isn't that what Cracked used to put on the cover of their Mad
cheap.
Magazine knockoffs?
Yeah,
cheap.
Cheap! Exclamation point.
It's $1.99.
I should have put that on the cover of this, man. Get somebody to buy it.
With Sylvester the janitor.
Yeah.
Sean, what do you got?
I have a Twitter account. It's called Hero Movie Sean, and I'm on it.
Good.
If you want to get in touch with me, that's a good way to do it.
Because you oughta. Send him a lovely message. Send him one of them emoticons with a smiley face in it. Make his day.
I would be okay with that.
Send him a smiley face emoticon. That's what I think you should. That's your assignment this week, kids. Send at Hero Movie Sean a smiley face emoticon.
I love it.
Just at Hero Movie Sean. We're friends, but I'm still hardcore.
Smiley face. And of course, my other podcast, The Film Find, thefilmfind.com, Preacher podcast as well. And of course, it's going to be official starting today, the day that you're listening to this. Nerd Talk Now will be live every single day. Right now I'm doing it at noon. That may change in the future. keep tuned in for that. But of course, not only is it going to be broadcast at noon on Facebook.com/Nerd Talk Now, you'll also be able to get it in audio form on the iTunes as well. So if you don't want to have to look at me like most ladies don't, head on down to the iTunes. Head down to iTunes and it'll be on there as well. You always get a little bit more fun with the visual stuff because I'll have articles and pictures and all that kind of good jazz. But if you just want to hear it, as a couple people have told me that they do, that's out on iTunes and Stitcher and all that kind of good stuff right now. Just look up Nerd Talk Now and you'll find it.
Oh, that's good. So you can find it on iTunes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's great.
So that is it, everybody. Join us again next week for the first 2 episodes of Legion. Until then, for Bruce Leslie, Sean Keenan, I'm Adam Portrais. Stay super, everybody.
I'm already an Edie.